quorum with 5 members here today. No guest speakers, correct? Okay. Let's have a moment of meditation, please. Okay, there's no one here for public comment. Johnson, do you want to introduce your entourage there?
Joining us today are 3 of our SML University students, and they are 3 of 4 who I am mentoring. I'll let them give you their names and the branches where they work.
My name is Kashida Pettaway, and I work at Hollywood and Union.
Hi, I'm Felicia Badger, and I work in Hamilton, South Carolina.
And I'm Paige Lafitte, and I work at the main branch.
Very good. Glad to have you here today. Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve it?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. Next is approval of the minutes of the draft minutes of the previous meeting. We have a discussion on it. Any corrections to be made? Okay, we have a motion to approve it.
Move to approve minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the last meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unfinished business. Nothing? New business. We have an agenda, an artwork proposal by Bill Weiner, who is not here.
Unfortunately, yes, he has not called me today to let me know, even though he called several times last week to confirm his appointment on the agenda here. So at this time, I suggest that we just table it until another day.
Does he do come in? I guess so.
Sure.
Does he come in? Maybe he's running late, he just called you in 3 minutes?
We're going to give him his 3 minutes.
Okay.
If he comes in late. Otherwise, we'll table it for further notice. Okay, next on the agenda is the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire approval. If you look at page 15 in the package there, it's this. Do you want to explain what this is?
This is the same compliance questionnaire that is required every year from Carr, Riggs, and Ingram, our auditors. This year they've asked that we approve it earlier than normal. We used to do this in June. Now we are doing it in January per their request. As you will see, it's mostly just a questionnaire that we sign off on saying that we have complied with all of the financial laws, statutes, and statewide agreed upon procedures that we are required to do. And we have signed off on that. We have followed them to the best of our ability, and if we have made any mistakes, the auditors will let us know about it.
Question?
Yeah, just one question. I can't find my, on the public bid law, I was just wondering, if there was an attachment, I can't find mine, where it says, all materials and supplies exceeding $30 in a public bid, that says no. What was the attachment? I'm afraid I-
It was a paragraph by Susan. You have it. Can you recite it off the top of your head?
It says that there are some exceptions the state makes to the public bid law, for example, what they call their small purchases, which is the purchase of books and certain items. they define certain items, and they say you don't have to go out for bid for these items. So I listed the exceptions and said we bought our books using this methodology, we bought this using that methodology, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
We do apologize for a certain individual leaving it out of the packet if it's not in there. She will correct that before the end of the day.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is something we do need to vote on, so I'll need a motion to,
I'd like to move that we approve the Louisiana compliance questionnaire as submitted.
Second.
the mover seconded that we approve the compliance questionnaire. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the vice president vacancy. As you know, Shannon departed abruptly toward the end of December to go to Little Rock for a new job. So we have two options. We can either go through the normal process where we form a nominating committee, and they meet, and they make a recommendation to the board, and we vote on it. Which means we won't have a vice president until the June meeting. Or Robert's Rules allows us to suspend the rules for specific purposes. So there's multiple references to that in Robert's Rules. So I would like to suspend Article 5, Section 7 of the bylaws for this meeting only for the purpose of electing a vice president. So need a motion to approve that.
A second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so can we have a move to,
I'd like to move that we, the board appoint Don Howard as vice president, because he's just the board.
I'm sorry.
all in favor of Don Howard as vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the assignment of board committees. Well, I have not yet gotten y'all's preferences from anyone except Tom.
I'm gonna give you mine right now.
If y'all give them to me now.
Yeah, we got it right here.
Or give them to me the next couple of days, and I will
Okay.
appoint committees and email the information out to you.
Okay, cool. Okay, go ahead, give it to me. There you go.
You want it?
I'll pick my way. You gotta do it. Get your copy.
If you don't have blank copies, please go ahead and give it to me quickly as possible.
Yeah, just sit up. There you go, right there.
The next item on the agenda is the capital improvement grant application for All City Ranch.
The grant passes muster, and completes all of the little hoops and jumps that we make them go through to complete the form, and it meets with all the standards that we've put forth. So we recommend that you pass it so that we can move forth and get Oil City opened again. For those of you who are not aware, Oil City has suffered a minor flood that is requiring carpet and paint and sheetrock repair. So as soon as we pass this, we can move all the wonderful books and computers and furniture out of the building so they can put new carpet in, repair the sheetrock, get the bathroom back in running order, and we'll have a functioning branch again.
Any discussion? The motion to approve the capital improvement grant application.
I'll make a motion to approve the capital improvement grant application for All City Ranch.
I second that.
Moved and seconded to approve this grant application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. Motion carries. reflection on the policy I picked last year.
Correct.
It's page 7. And there have been some changes suggested to it. Would you like to?
I'm actually going to turn the mic over to our brand new associate area manager for support services, and his name is Caleb. You may be familiar with him. Anyway, we'll let him talk about his collection development changes.
Hi. Hi, thank you for letting me speak. Basically, we have had a few edits to the policy. We had a meeting with Deoncy and the rest of the public service area managers discussing about how branches request materials as well as how acquisitions purchases materials. And we decided that we wanted to change some of the language in the policy because basically when the branches are asking for different items, they're really suggesting that the acquisitions department purchase these items. Sometimes when they request things, the acquisitions team may have already purchased something and they just may not have seen it yet. So that was one of the things we wanted to do was change basically on the staff intranet, there's a place where people will submit what titles they want the acquisitions team to purchase. And that form is located in the same place as a lot of other forms where they're requesting materials. And a lot of those other forms, I think they expect the items to automatically come. Like if you're requesting cleaning supplies or supplies for specific programs, the financial services here will do a great job of sending them out to the branches. And it's a little bit of a different situation with our acquisitions department where they're constantly buying materials for branches. So we didn't want the branches to get this idea of, if I submit it via this form, we will definitely get a copy. Because the acquisitions team here are the ones making the purchase decisions for the entire collection of the library system. So that's why instead of having it titled the acquisitions request form, we changed it so it would be called the suggestions for purchase form. And that's mostly the main changes that we had in the policy. And basically on the internet, we're going to change the form so it's slightly different for staff to send in these suggestions to the acquisitions team.
There you have it. Minor edits.
Sounds good.
Questions or discussion?
I'm looking at something.
Every time we get a new person, it's something, they're going to make a few changes to that. No matter what.
Okay, I'm looking at the part-time branches. When they ask, I'm doing page 8, I'm just doing and they also ask for different things also too, but do they have a limited time they need, since they're part-time, that they open on so many, not every day, do they can order and they expect the thing to get a certain time or what like that? Okay, part-time branches open like maybe 3 days a week, or either they may open at 12 o'clock in the day, you know, what I'm saying. I know they use the same, they're going, whatever material they use, I'm saying, is there a certain deadline for them?
No.
It's gotta come from the country.
No. The difference well, as Caleb, the example he used earlier, if they were to ask for paper towels or soap, that usually takes less than 3 days for us to get the request process and get it to the dock, get it in the vehicle and get it out there. Depending on the type of material it is, depending on when it's going to be published, I can use my request as an example or my suggestions. I read stuff all the time and I'll see it and I say, well, I'd love to have a copy of this. It may not be published yet when I hear about it. So I will send the suggestion in knowing that it's going to be 3 to 6 months before it's even allowed to be purchased. It may not be purchased because for whatever, there are hundreds of reasons it may not be purchased. But even if it is purchased, then we've got to wait for it to get sent here, processed, go through cataloging, then before it will get out. So the timeline on any kind of materials is going to be far more significant than the average toilet paper request. But there really is no difference. We treat the part-time branches the same as we would any of the others. If they got a request, we try and fill it within reason. There are certain items we just don't normally purchase, and there's some things that they're so esoteric and way out there and so expensive, it would be kind of crazy for us to spend that kind of money when we have interlibrary loan available to us. One way or the other, we'll get the materials, but we just wanted to make sure that they realized when they completed that form that they weren't going to get the book in 3 days like they would. So
And there's no deadline per se.
there is not.
As it appears that you need it, you submit it. Anything else? Okay, once again, we need a vote on this and approve the change, so we need a motion to approve the change.
I move that we approve the library collection development policy changes submitted.
Second, okay. Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Opposed, so it passes. Okay, the next item is closure of libraries used as polling locations on November 3rd, 2020.
The election board has requested that we do this for a variety of reasons. We may not agree with all reasons, but since they are also working to close schools and such of the nature for this election, one of the reasons was they expect such a large turnout that it would be better to have the libraries closed for safety reasons. It affects different branches in different ways. With Belcher, it's actually the side meeting room that's the polling place, but since people can cross over, went ahead and decided we do that. And the other locations too that are listed there, it would just be probably, since they've asked, because it's only one day, we decided to comply with it, if you so choose.
Any discussion?
I thought they already, I mean, they need to be closed. All the schools are closed, it's busy, the November election is big.
Presidential elections are always crazy.
Okay, once again, we need to approve this, so we need a motion to approve it.
I move that we close the library's use of polling location on November 3rd, 2020.
Second? Second, okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. So that motion carries. Okay, next, we have Mr. Thomas, Director's update.
You have my report in your packet, which highlighted a few different things. We are continuing our work with the part-time branches as far as our CIP program going on. We've run into a slight snag with our city branches, more paperwork through purchasing that we're slowly working our way through. We had a it was a heartwarming and wonderful meeting. You don't have those very often with the city of Shreveport, but we did have one last week with the IT, Keith Hansen, the IT guru, and we were moving forward with a test of the white space Wi-Fi for providing library Wi-Fi services outside of the buildings, and we hit a slight little snag. The consulting group that had told us there was ample white space in our area has now backed up and said maybe not, so we're still moving forward with that. We have our IT manager looking into it, but we got a very good and solid partnership already set up with the city's IT department. They want to move forward with the Smart City, and part of the Smart City initiative also includes, per the mayor's request, that we expand Wi-Fi for all students inside the city limits so that they will have access to it no matter where they are. So we are moving forward with that project, even though we've had a little setback as of this morning. But we have, as of your passing of the questionnaire for the auditors. We've started the financial auditing of 2019, which my staff behind me will tell you the auditing process is always fun. We will keep smiles on our faces as we do so. Right, Bert?
Right.
Right, there you go. We completed I personally am on the LLA committee for the Louisiana Literary Award, and we completed that. Ms. Fortenberry will tell you more details about a wonderful $500,000 energy efficiency grant she managed to get for us. She also managed to get a $3,000 grant for the Broadmoor branch beautification. Let's see, what else we got going on? Still working with our Rotary Club, and very interesting projects going on there that may include the library. As you know, we have partnered with Common Ground and the Rotary Learning Bus, and that's still going on, and we're having quite a few meetings where either the outreach or the Make and Go show up at Common Ground in the various places they do, and our hope is that that service will expand beyond just the Cedar Grove area. Moving forward and taking a look at the budget, we are at the end of November 30, 2019. We're on track to spend most of our money. If you look, none of the categories are outrageously overspent or underspent. We're on track. As usual, Mr. Pelton's done a wonderful job keeping us in line, and Susan hasn't let us overspend money that I always want to spend. And last but not least, we got our fourth quarter statistical report in for the end of 2019. Materials, actual loans were down just a smidgen, not too bad. Computer use was still up. Class seminars, especially attendance, was just fantastic. Research and instruction as far as that goes, and customer visits were right on target for us to still serve about 1 million individuals throughout the year. So as far as 2019 goes, it was a great year. I'm not going to complain, and 2020 is off to a good start. Any questions?
Jim? I have one question, Joe. Excellent work and a lot of interaction with the community. I just want to know, is there any update at all on Southern University and the proposed law school?
I actually participated in a little bit of the surveying that they did for that. That study was out at the end of last year. I haven't heard when they concluded it, and I haven't heard anything as of this week about when they're doing the study to see if it actually would be worth the effort at the university. But one up here, according to the chancellor at the meeting you and I attended, he was, I swear he was very positive that the study would see that they have a need for that. At this time, though, it is still frozen, so we don't have an answer one way or the other for you.
Especially when that type of a program there's a need, but is it still possible that they would entertain using a section of it used to be the main grant?
I don't remember the chancellor's last name right off the top of my head, but when he and I and Commissioner Jackson talked, and Dr. Wilson from the parish hall, we all had a meeting, and he was very happy about using at least part of the main library for that if it were to happen. Of course, I know there are several competing buildings downtown that would love to have that business, so we'll have to see how it all plays out at the end.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the setback this morning? What was the setback this morning? Something to deal with the library?
With the white space Wi-Fi. Originally, we were told by the consultant and with the other consultant from San Jose State that there was ample TV white space in this area for us to use. And as of this morning, they said not so much, right? So I've got Greg looking into a couple other things and talking with, again, we have seen this example work in Houston. They have it working down there. It's a partnership with Rice University. And I do believe it's the 3rd ward in Houston that they're using to cover this with. So it's just a slight setback. If we can't use white space Wi-Fi, we'll work with Mr. Hanson in the city to find some other way to expand Wi-Fi access. That was it. We were told one thing by the consultants. In fact, when was it you talked to them, Caleb? In the fall?
Yeah.
In the fall, they were just, yeah, you got plenty of space, you got plenty of space. And then all of a sudden we say, oh, we're ready to go, send us the kits so we can do some testing. And, oh, we were wrong, sorry. So get everybody's hopes up and then boom. But we're still determined to find some way to do it. So.
I'm not too sure.
What's
either.
white space?
Oh, okay. Quick physics lesson.
So
I'll let Tom teach this one since he used to be the teacher around here. You have channel 5 and channel 7 on your TV, and you physically turn it to the frequency that is represented by channel 5 or the frequency that's represented by channel 7. Nowadays, if you use your digital antenna, when you turn to channel 7, you'll notice you get channel 7, channel 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. Well, it goes on quite a bit further than that. And in between the channels, that frequency is still out there. When they broadcast channel 7, they're broadcasting down to about 6 and all the way up to 8. And there's still a lot of space in there that they aren't actually sending signal through. And it's available for us to sit here and use. We can tap our Wi-Fi, or actually our internet, not a T1 line, our fiber, into that, broadcast it about 7 miles through the Wi-Fi frequency and have it come down and then broadcast it out. It's just instead of using a big long coax cable to run Wi-Fi everywhere, we use the existing TV frequency that's not being used by the TV people to use and operate and send the signals back and forth.
So now you get channel out there.
Now we get, yeah, they say we got too many TV channels in this area, all of a sudden. And that changed from September. They said, oh, you got plenty of space. Yeah, and all of a sudden, I don't believe we added any TV channels in the past 4 months, but there you go. It would have been nice. It's been, and I'm not going to give up yet. We'll see.
Anything else?
That's my report.
Thank you, sir. Public services update, Nancy Sutherland.
Okay, you have my report, but I would like to highlight a few things that our staff members are doing for the public. Wale and Williamsport provided gift wrapping services over the holidays, and together they wrapped over 600 gifts for the people in their communities. Also, North Shreveport's crochet class made 77 beanies for newborns at LSU Ochsner Hospital. The beanies were delivered to the hospital on December 4th, and 3 other branches are joining in on this project, and so that this project is ongoing. And those branches are, 2 other branches are joining in, and those branches are Broadmoor and Hollywood. Also, if you haven't had a chance to visit the Children's Library at Southport, do stop by and take a look at it. And then tonight, if you have some free time, Mayor Perkins will be the first of, I think, about 3 speakers in celebration of African American History Month at the Broadmoor branch. And that's it for public services.
I volunteer to fill in for Jim, who happens to be out with bronchitis, even though some of us suspect it's the flu, but we will believe her when she tells us bronchitis. The main thing that was accomplished in the last couple of months, as far as Jenny's concerned, is that she's got a brand new access services person sitting right over my left shoulder. And she is quite happy to have Caleb with us and serving in that position. The IT department has been working, or started this year, with turning all of our telephones into what is called voice over IP, which basically allows us to use the internet for phone calls. It's pretty much standard. A lot of other places, the more interesting thing she and the rest of the HR department decided to do for this year is their random acts of kindness, making kindness the norm campaign. And if you're not aware, today's act to be kind to people is share your happiness with those around you. So if you get a chance today, smile at someone, it may make them happy. And that's her report.
Okay, Ms. Fortenberry, you have financial services and risk management. Oh, sorry, your question?
Yeah, I have a question. On the voice over internet protocol, there'd be a cost savings there for landlines and so?
Not significant enough to really get too happy about it a little bit. Yeah.
But do pass this on to Jenny.
Okay.
And whoever else was involved in the project. I really do like the Make Kindness the Norm program. I read each one of the items on the calendar, and it's something I think not only this organization, but many organizations should be looking at and making people aware that how their actions affect other people in so many ways, even just a small act of kindness can go a long way. So whoever was involved in that project, my compliments to you.
Agreed.
Susan?
Our maintenance team picked up approximately 8,300 pounds of food that our patrons and staff donated to the food bank of Northwest Louisiana, and so they made the rounds, picked all that up and delivered it, and that was pretty exciting that we got to do that. One thing that did make it on my printed report, because it kind of occurred after it was turned in, it's kind of a recent development, we've had some bats at Moortown, and so we are aggressively investigating trees and handling this. We've got 4 different vendors we're consulting with, and we've been, putting up netting. We have people there every night to observe the situation, and so I feel like we're in a good place for progress that we're making on that. Get that resolved, and then finally, I have some, really exciting news that John mentioned earlier. We were able to get the Louisiana Public Service Commission's $500,000 grant to upgrade our LED to LED lighting. And so they give us a 3-year time limit to spend money, which is good because it coincides with our capital project perfectly, because you have to pay for it and then get reimbursed later. And they won't let you do like one branch and ask for money back. You have to do 5 or 6 or at least 4. Because it's a whole lot of paperwork to the state and the local public service commission, and they don't want extra paperwork. So, and we're going to be working closely with the public service commission on their guidance, like their rules for changing out lights and things like that, to make sure we get it exactly right. So we're excited about that, and we hope to get started on that ASAP. And as soon as we make any progress in that area, we'll let you know.
I'd just like to make a comment. Today is January 27th. As John said, share your happiness with those around you. Susan, thank you. I know you were very happy.
I'm so happy about that.
Great job.
Anything else? Okay, next is the SML Foundation Committee Report. Ms. Bonnet.
Well, can you guys hear me? So the foundation board, they've been meeting our first meeting of the year last week, I believe it was. They are looking at coming up with their fundraising goals for the year and their priorities for what they want to do to raise the funds for. So we're still cultivating the board and recruiting new board members. So there's one you refer to us, this is my list. That's it so far.
Did we set a goal, or are we still talking about it?
No, they're still deciding on the goal.
We have we have individuals who really like having discussions. So we're having lots of discussion.
I feel your pain. Okay, miscellaneous is the last one today. Agenda, anything?
Okay, I think, John received a call. I met with the Chamber of Commerce of Greenwood, and they get ready, and I suggested to them to form a committee. Citizens around, need to use the library, citizens including the mayor and everything, come up with what they need to do to use that capital money. Because I don't want that money to, somebody feel like they need to grab the money and take it from them. So anyway, I met with them, and they going to form a committee. They've asked John to come out, because they need to know about, about bids. Bids need to be, minorities need to be part of it. They need to know the bids, how they're going to pay for it, how they, and so he's going to meet with the chamber. We meet with the committee, but they form a committee. I'm going to be there too. So we can tell them how to use the money, but how they can pay. I don't know if I think one of them already said they were getting ready to do something, Florida or something. And I said, how can you do that? We haven't even got a bid for it. So I think they didn't understand. That's when it came up. And I said they need to know about the bid law, how we spend this money, and they need to do everything. So they're going to do that. When they select the committee, then they're going to call you and you get to help out.
Rodessa, my understanding, is doing the same thing,
They're doing the same
something
thing.
similar, so, yes.
Anybody else? John?
I don't know if this is in order, but I'd like to make a motion that we table item 6A until such time as Mr. Weiner contacted the board.
I was handed a note just a few minutes ago. Mr. Weiner apologizes for not making it. He had a temporary little accident at home, and he hopes that we can table him until the next meeting.
I withdraw my motion.
Anybody else?
I got one question.
Right, good.
When will the Moretown branch open? It's going to take a while.
Let's hope not. Our bats, whether you like it or not, are a protected species, so I just can't send people out there to eradicate them. We have nets everywhere. We're watching it. We're closed down right now. We're just so that we can make sure that the bats don't come out until the sun goes down. So we can't sit around. They don't work on our schedule, unfortunately. So we're out there, and we've managed to patch 2 of the holes that we found that they were sneaking in. But Marcus, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the latest one that got in came in through an air vent. So now we're inspecting air vents. We have netting up everywhere. At this point, if we can find where they're getting in through the air vents, we may be able to seal it. I'm hoping we're not having to do anything crazy like HVAC. Oh my, I don't even want to say the word replacement, but we have to just look and see what's happening there. We're hoping to get it back up and running within a week. The worst case scenario is we have to cut our hours back because the bats, again, at least they don't come out until sunset, so we can open at 9 and close at 5 until the bats decide to cooperate with us. They're making a mess on the outside, but it's more like they get inside and play kamikaze dive bombers with the patrons and staff. So to avoid bats and hair, we just, until we can seal the building up and make sure they're not coming inside. So worst case scenario, again, like I said, if we can't eradicate them, and from my understanding, Susan was telling me months. Is that correct?
They were going to seal about 90% of the building today, the roofer was, but they didn't seal that last, 10% area because they got to leave them a place to keep getting out. But the place that they're going to get out is netted. They can go out the net, but the net is designed to where they can't go back in. So you watch them every night at dusk and you see, did any come out? And when you start seeing that none came out, you get a better feeling. But they like to leave those nets up 6 to 8 weeks, but that doesn't mean we have to be closed that entire time. We just want to get a feel that they've all kind of tried to come out, but that's complicated by the weather. They're mammals, so they don't like the cold weather any more than we do, and that makes them want to kind of stay inside where it's a little bit warm and not come out like they would if it was summer. So we feel like we got, there are very few that are coming out now, so we feel like we got the bulk of them out. We just need to watch for a couple more days and make sure we really got them. Now that it's warming up this week,
But we've got the best pest control in the city working on it, so see what we can do.
Anything else? Okay. Our next scheduled meeting is March 23rd, 2020. Okay with everybody?
We need to take care of this.
Yes. We have a conflict of interest statement there in your packet that you need to sign and give to Kathy. Okay, if there's no further business, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
So,
Then second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You are adjourned.
don't you have a train?